Do you see any of the young girls of your generation being like Zipporah, the first lady of anything, royalty? Do you see any of the girls you call dots, right?
Yes, sir.
Acronym for that hole over there. Those girls, do you see any of them as being as Zipporah?
No,
Do you see any? Okay, none. None. Okay, now, I wanted to touch on this because at the celebration of celibacy, we talked about avoiding a woman that could lead you astray, which we should. Do we understand that?
Yes, sir.
However, we are not to condemn them. Do you think a girl who's having sex, lost her purpose, really knows her lineage? That she comes from kings and queens?
No, sir.
No. Okay, good. What does God say about her? What does God call her a thought?
No, sir.
So should we call her a thought?
No, sir.
All right, good. That's still your sister. I want you to know that. I mean, yes, she could be living foul, but as long as if you label her a hoe or a thought or whatever, you've literally, the Bible says, life and death is in the power of the tongue. Do you see how you say, man, my sister, she's off the chain? You see how that changes the tone of things?
Yes, sir.
And I want to talk about Gideon and tie this in because the Lord hit me with this, because when Gideon, Israel basically was getting dog checked by Midian. You paying attention, Jordan?
Yes, sir.
They were really just punked out, just constantly, give me this, I'm taking this, I'm taking this. So could you imagine living like that? So now, we don't know what the girl who is promiscuous has gone through. Many of those girls have bad relationships with their fathers. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
And again, the key thing is that she doesn't know who she is. So here's Gideon. They're crying out to God for help from Midian, the Midianites, who are just basically taking everything from them. And then God sends an angel to appear to Gideon. And now, mind you, Gideon is the least in his clan, his entire family, and his clan is the weakest in the whole tribe of Manasseh. How did you think we would call Gideon what? A punk? You weak, right? Just from saying he's the weakest in his clan, right?
Yes, sir.
His family is weak, and he's the weakest in his clan is weak, and he is the weakest in his family. We'll say you weak, you a punk, you a hoe, whatever we want to call him. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
How do you think God addressed him? The Lord appeared to him and said, "You mighty hero, I am with you." Or you valiant warrior. Okay? Now, do you see the difference?
Yes, sir.
Gideon didn't know who he was. But God says, you are a mighty warrior. You are a hero. And Gideon like, no way, how can I be that? I'm a thought. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
He
sir.
says, no, you're beautiful, you're virtuous, you're powerful, you're going to be a queen, you're a princess. Make a long story short, Gideon, with 300 men, wrecked the Midianites, who they say you couldn't count them. They numbered like grains of sand. That's like going to the beach and trying to count each grain of sand. That's how many Midianites he had to fight. I'm just saying all of this because I want you to know the sisters that you see in your schools are Zipporahs. They're queens. They're leaders. They're great women. They've just been led astray. Do I still want you to avoid the promiscuous woman
Yes.
for
Yes,
a
sir.
relationship? Of course, it's biblical. However, I do not want us to condemn them. Do we understand?
Yes, sir.
When you look at that woman, Zipporah, that's what your sisters, the girls in your schools, had the potential to be. They just lost. So you guys need to pray for them. You need to big them up, affirm them when you see them. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And I end on this. I saw two sisters one day. I used to do mentoring at one school. I saw two girls just sitting on the floor in the hallway, just on the ground. I said, wow, I never thought I would see princesses sitting on the ground. They said, we're no princes. I said, yes, you are. Both of you are princesses, rather. And she said, why do you say that? I said, because I know it. Do you know they got off the ground? Yes. So you guys have the power to really speak life into them.